What's up, compressed air friends? Coming at you from inside the shop today, and you should always wear your safety glasses in the shop. Protect your eyes. What I'm going to show you guys right now is we're going to go through a troubleshooting procedure using Claude AI as a guide, and then we're going to have Claude take our findings and put them into a 5 why root cause analysis for us. And I'm going to show you guys what this looks like with Claude right now. Let me get him brought up. And hey Claude, I'm going to need you to assist me troubleshooting an air compressor and then compress our notes into a 5 why root cause analysis at the conclusion.
I'd be happy to help troubleshoot your air compressor. Let's start with the basics. What specific issue are you experiencing with it? For the root cause analysis at the end, that might work better in text chat since it'll involve structured formatting. Should we handle the troubleshooting here and then switch over?
I'd like to do both here in the voice format, please.
Got it. Let's troubleshoot your air compressor right here. What specific problem are you experiencing? Is it not starting, not building pressure, making unusual noises, or something else?
So I have a Sullair LS190 that the main motor overload trips immediately on startup. Just need some help getting started with the troubleshooting.
The motor overload tripping immediately suggests either a locked rotor, electrical issue, or excessive starting load. First, can you manually turn the motor shaft by hand when it's off and unplugged?
Yes, the motor shaft will turn by hand really easily. I should also note this is a 480 volt motor.
Since the shaft turns easily, that rules out mechanical seizure. With a 480 volt motor, let's check the electrical side. Are you getting the correct 480 volts at the motor terminals? And have you checked if the start capacitor is functioning properly?
It's a 480 volt motor, Claude, no start capacitor.
You're right, 480 volt motors typically don't have start capacitors. Since it's a 3-phase motor, let's check if you're getting balanced voltage across all 3 phases at the motor terminals. Are you reading 480 volts between each pair of phases?
Voltage readings are L1 to L2, 481, L1 to L3, 480, L2 to L3, 479.
Those voltage readings look good and balanced. Let's check the motor windings next. Can you measure the resistance between each pair of motor leads with a multimeter to see if the windings are intact?
Yes, the reading between all windings on the motor is 0.3 of an ohm.
Those winding readings are consistent, which is good. Now let's check for a ground fault. Can you measure the resistance from each motor lead to the motor frame or ground to see if there's any leakage?
When I use my ohm meter to check, all windings end up with a reading of OL.
Perfect. The OL reading means open line, so there's no ground fault. That's what you want to see. Since voltage and windings check out, let's verify the motor overload relay settings. What amperage is the overload set to versus the motor's nameplate full load amps?
Overload relay setting is equal to motor FLA.
That overload setting should be correct. Let's check if there's excessive mechanical load. Can you disconnect the belt from the compressor pump and try starting the motor by itself to see if it runs without the load?
Yes, I've uncoupled the motor and the overload relay still trips immediately on startup.
Now we're getting somewhere. With the motor uncoupled and still tripping immediately, this points to an internal motor problem. Let's check the motor more thoroughly. Can you measure the current draw during the brief moment before it trips, or do you have access to a megger to test insulation resistance more precisely?
So I have a clamp-on ammeter, but in startup it just simply reads OL, period. I do have access to a megger. Uh-oh, might have to redo that one. Claude's having a hiccup. We'll see.
No problem. Let me repeat that. Since the motor trips even when uncoupled, it's likely an internal motor issue. Can you measure the startup current during that brief moment? Or do you have a megger to test the insulation resistance more accurately?
I have a clamp-on ammeter that when I try to measure current on startup, it gives me a reading of OL. I do have access to a megger. How should I test the motor?
With the clamp meter showing OL, that suggests extremely high current draw exceeding the meter's range. For the megger test, disconnect all power and test each winding to ground at 500 volts. You should see readings above 1 megohm for good insulation.
Megger readings on pretty much every phase of the motor do not allow it to get up to the full 500 volts, and it's reading about 100 mega ohms.
That's a problem. The megger not reaching full 500 volts and reading only 100 mega ohms indicates compromised insulation in the motor windings. This explains the immediate overload trip. You have internal insulation breakdown causing excessive current draw. The motor needs to be rewound or replaced. What's your next step going to be?
I think we can pretty much wrap up the troubleshooting at this point. Claude, can you go ahead and give me the 5Y root cause analysis now?
Here's your 5Y root cause analysis for the Solaire LS190 air compressor issue. Why did the air compressor fail to start? The motor overload relay tripped immediately on startup. Why did the overload trip? Excessive current draw from the motor exceeded the protection settings. Why was there excessive current draw? Internal insulation breakdown in the motor windings created electrical faults. Why did the insulation break down? Age, heat cycles, moisture, or contamination degraded the winding insulation over time. Why wasn't this prevented? Lack of preventive maintenance testing like periodic megger checks could have detected declining insulation before complete failure. Does this analysis capture what we found during troubleshooting?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. That was good systematic troubleshooting. We isolated it down to the motor insulation failure pretty efficiently. Good luck with the motor replacement or repair.
Thanks, Claude.